He's an author and a rock star. He's reached highs that most can only dream of. He's also hit lows you wouldn't wish on your worst enemy. And now he's ready to share that journey and that truth with you on Grind Time with Darren McCarty. Please welcome your host, number 25, Darren McCarty.
Yes, it is. Must be a Wednesday. Actually, first Wednesday in April, this 3rd of April. And yes, you are listening to the right podcast if you're tuned into Grind Time with Darren McCarty. I am your host, 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty. Happy to be with you this first Wednesday in April. First Wednesday of my 48th year, which means 47th birthday, which I thank everybody out there for the text, emails. Everybody wished me a happy birthday on Monday. It was a good birthday. Yesterday was a great anniversary. 7 years. I love you, Cheryl. I know you're sleeping right now, or you should be, because it's past your bedtime. But happy to be here. As always, joined behind the ones and twos, Mr. Krakowski. Timmy, how you doing, buddy?
I'm good. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Happy to be here. Good. We'll get to always great to have you. And Mr. Perry Vellucci. That's enough from you, Perry? No, I'm just kidding. I got to be nicer to you, Perry. Promise that I would be nicer to you, Perry. How are you today? And I thank you, Perry, guys. Perry got his chauffeur's license, so Cheryl gave him the okay to drive me around. So he's been driving me around. Actually, he hooked me up. I went, Perry, using the facilitation, right? If here at Grind Time with Darren McCarty, what Darren McCarty preaches is that if he's going to say it, you have to do it. So the facilitation of Perry introduced me to a friend of his who's a mechanic. His name's EJ. Took my van to it. He's putting some TLC and some tender love and care into the van so we can get back on the road for these slapstick comedy tours. And I got an autograph show in Ohio and actually big weekend here in Ann Arbor for the Hash Bash, which brings... I might as well introduce right now because you can see him at home if you're watching on Grind Time with Facebook Live. I could say a lot about this guy, but just the number one is this is one of my true homies and a guy who's really helped introduce me into the inner workings and circle of the cannabis industry, even though he's from New York. Really good friend of mine, Damien DiStefano from Over the Moon clothing fame and Over the Moon Kush, top 10 strain last year. How you doing, homie?
Good. Appreciate you having me, man.
No, man. No, I mean, I can't think anybody else to have in here than somebody who's not only helped me as we're almost 4 years into, we've known each other, but you were really instrumental for me in my recovery at the beginning of how we met each other. Do you remember the first time we met each other?
I do. I didn't know who the hell you were.
You did. Now explain that because that's actually why him and Cheryl got along, because they both didn't know who I was when they met. But so we sort of had in passing. I like how you tell the story. So Damien,
right, so
how do we meet?
I own a clothing store, and I had a brick and mortar location in Walled Lake, Michigan. And I was in my store one day, and all of a sudden the door opens, and who now I know to be Darren walks through the door, and my employees, who are from Michigan, say to me, "Do you know who that is, dude?" And I said, "No, does he need a hat or a T-shirt?"
Hustler.
And they said, "No, that's Darren McCarty." I said, "Well, who the hell's Darren McCarty?" So I went and Googled him real quick while he was in the store and realized that he likes to fight. And I said, "Man, I like this guy already. I don't even know who he is, but I like him." And the rest is history, man. We've been hanging out. We've both been judges in the High Times Cannabis Cup with each other before, which is definitely an experience. Not too many people could say they got to judge with Darren McCarty.
Oh, dude, I remember that. Do you remember, was it the first year?
It was in your backyard.
Yeah. So, hey, Timmy, you'll love this. So, Damien, when I say that he really, so when I'm starting my recovery and getting ready in November 11th, which was the day in 2015. So leading up to that, It'd take me like 6 months. So it was the introduction. So I'd met Damien before that, and the introduction through different people in the plant. So it comes to judging the high times, and my homie right here, who's a hustler, right? He's a New York kid. I mean, he's not too happy. We haven't even got to the Yankees Tigers yet. That he's not too happy. We took 2 out of 3 from him right now. So
I got no problems with the Tigers.
I know
unless they're
you
playing
don't.
the Yankees.
I know, that's right. So anyways, homie, he gets us all hooked up with all the high times guys. So we got a couple bags, and I forget, but because he hooked it up, where I like the flour and then the concentrates, but he knew where you get more or what. And so we had everybody over in my backyard, and we had a cookout, and we sat there and we judged
34 samples.
34
of
samples.
just flour, and then he had an additional 16 of concentrate. This is in one day, mind you.
Jesus.
I needed a driver to get home.
Professional. So it works. Hey, Jenny, perfect timing. Come on in. Say hi to Jenny, guys, from the Russian 5.
So Russian 5 is giving you a little birthday present.
They are. Okay, well, while you're here, thank you, darling. Before I open this up, will you give us an update on how things have gone so far with the weekend and what we have to look forward to for the Russian 5 this
Absolutely. So thanks to the fans and everybody that's been supporting the movie. First of all, I love you guys because you've seen it twice and 3 times now. We're loving it. All the fans are like, I went twice. Now I'm going 3rd time. So amazing. We were number 28 movie in America, number 3 in Michigan. So weekend 2 is coming up. We're opening up in Pittsburgh. We're in Dallas. We're going to have Jim Lights with us there.
Awesome.
We're opening up Las Vegas. Then Arizona is coming up. So come on, everybody, give us some love.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that also, too, is some of the numbers we were talking about probably down because of the Final Four basketball.
Yes,
so
yes.
after we can all, let's all do something this weekend. Can we promise that if we've seen it, then we take a friend, but we all go see the movie before we cheer the Sparties on Saturday night. So we can, it's
Yes.
great. We could do it a matinee. Do you have any, are you going to be anywhere watching this movie where people can meet?
Actually, Friday night we're in Flint.
You're in Flint?
Yeah,
I love Flint.
We're in Flint, and we're at the Capitol Theater, and we're doing something special for the firefighters and for the military EMS. They can come and see a movie for $5.
Oh,
so
cool.
anybody who is a part of that, please come and see a movie in Flint. Actually, 600 tickets have been sold. That's pre-sale.
awesome.
So we're expecting a huge crowd, and you've seen it with the crowd. It's probably the best thing to see with the crowd.
Well, that's also,
So
too.
come to Flint, man. Come
Hey,
over.
and if you, I have a little update because I just spent the last couple hours with Igor Larionov, and he'd asked me how the movie was, and I told him how great it was, and he was wondering if he could get a copy of it. So I said I might be able to talk to somebody who you might know. So he's interested.
Get him a copy.
He was very interested again in how, and I think because everybody just talking about it, that I'm extremely sure he's gonna love it. And I told him about Vladdy.
Yeah.
How Anastasia said that's his happy place, and he was singing "We Are the Champions," and I watched Igor's face light up, just like
That's all it's going to take.
Right
is one of
then,
them to see it. Just one of
listen,
them.
right
Besides
then.
Right.
But wait. Because you have to understand this, and this is what I understand. So the relationship that I have, he asks me, and when I tell him that, because it's important, that, like I tell everybody, that Vladdy, yes, there's a financial stake in this movie for him, which was important, but also that it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, it's his happy place. He sings the song. End of story. Everybody else, anybody got a problem with it, come and see me. Or
Right.
go fuck yourselves. Like pretty much it. That's it. But this will encourage that they will want to see it because to hear his reaction.
Right, of course. And I hope Igor can come and see it with the crowd.
Yeah.
Because, sure, can I send you a link? Yes.
Listen, that's the Russian.
You
in
gotta
her, right?
see it with
I
the
just
people.
told her you might be able to get a little bit. You get the little bit. Now she wants to scare, but we gotta get. Yeah, but with him, you might have to see it by himself.
Yeah,
then.
that's fine. Yeah, we've talked about it before. So he's been traveling quite a bit. I know he's been wanting to see the movie. So absolutely.
All right, here. Oh, come on, really?
Yes.
No.
You have been.
Dude.
This is from me, Josh, Steve, the whole Rush Dan.
That's too much.
No, it's not too much. You have been the most unbelievable support system for us. And
Now
this-
you open it. Show the people.
Yeah,
I
come
just
on.
I opened the top of it.
I don't know what it is.
It's a Shinola Detroit watch.
Yes.
Unless it's the greatest gimmick, unless it's my April Fool's present, and it's like I take a Barbie watch. This is really a Shinola, man. That's too much.
Wow.
No, it's not
that's
too much.
fantastic.
You've been an amazing. Honestly, we can't thank you enough. You've
Holy
been such
fuck.
a great. You've been such a great person and such.
Well, we've been honored to be on the ride with you, Jenny. Just so
you,
you know,
guys.
it's just been a thrill
Yeah,
for us. You know, so.
enjoy.
You don't really put me back at all ever.
Happy birthday, man. Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
yeah, man, yeah,
Good shit.
yeah, man.
Oh, thank you.
That's a good hug right there.
Thank you. That means a lot. I wear that.
Made in Detroit, Shinola watch.
I hope you like it. I don't know
Are
what
you
kind you
kidding
like,
me?
but
Check this
yeah,
figure out.
show to the
Oh,
guys.
wow.
I hope you like it. Are
Yeah.
you kidding me?
Yeah,
It seemed like it was your
He likes it.
style.
it's gorgeous. Are you kidding? My goodness.
If you need
And
to
you
make
don't
it.
know this thing about me. I used to be a huge watch guy.
I have. Yeah.
I used to be a huge watch guy back in my day. So
Well, now you got
everybody
one.
out
Good
there,
on you, man.
Handmade in Detroit.
I will wear that
Shinola.
with pride.
Wow, beautiful.
Is that the right time?
I don't
It's
know.
8:59.
It is 8:57. Thank you. Is this?
I love you guys.
I-
Thank you so much.
You're the
Thank
best.
you. So we
the
will
best,
look forward to next. Just so you know, so next Wednesday I got the comics coming in. I got Kevin Zioli and the guys. So you show up and give us a Russian 5 update. You got to know
Well,
what.
I live in the neighborhood, so
Right,
it's
that's what I'm
doing it
saying.
right.
What do I tell you? And you know this as well as I do from two people from different places.
Yeah.
But do you think that there's a reason that you're not supposed to be coming next door to promote it? It's just the way, it's the same thing. And I will. If you accept that, then I accept that.
I will. I
Thank
will.
you.
Thank you so much, guys. I
Thank
love
you.
you. I'm sorry
Thank
to
you.
interrupt.
Tell the boys I said thank you.
Okay.
All right. We'll
Enjoy.
see you soon.
Thank you, Jenny. You're the best.
Wow.
The best. Wow.
Wow.
Number 25.
Wow,
Speechless.
Wow. I'm blown away.
Mac, that is, yeah. Well,
That's.
That's awesome.
Perry goes back to the simple thing of, I'm a simple guy. And we were talking, appreciation. I think anybody, all they want to do is some sort of appreciation. Not to this level, I'm saying, just for little things, but when it happens, I don't know.
acknowledgement.
Well, it's just, but it's like I'm blown away right now.
Oh,
they
that's-
did, for something that, and I truly do appreciate it. And
Yeah. Well, you did,
No,
you've
I
done
get
a
it.
lot for them, and
No,
they really appreciate what you've done.
I get it.
you know.
I guess that's the end of it. That goes around to. That really ties into where I was talking about EJ and the facilitation that whether we're talking and I'm talking about having a mechanic, or I'm talking about a buddy who's helped save my life by the introduction in this business that is in the T-shirts, or like the people and the fact that it's a Russian 5, but it just all goes around.
You know what
like,
it is, Mac? Is that you're open to it. You're willing
I'm
to receive
receiving.
it. Yeah.
You know what, Tim? And I think that as we've
the
talked about here on
difference.
Grind Time, is that we're in a lot of the same spot.
Yeah.
All of us here, where before I think that it was around, it just wasn't in a spot, was in a darker spot. Now, D, you know that, right? You've been
Absolutely.
You've been
Everybody has
up,
those
you've been
roads.
down, you roll with the punches, but you learn, right?
Absolutely.
So everybody knows you're a single father.
I am.
You raised how old's Brandon now?
Braden's 10 years
Braden?
old.
Braden's
Yep.
10 years old.
10 years old, yep.
So that's
Time flies.
It
Enjoy,
ti-
enjoy them while they're here and young. They grow up fast, so.
No doubt, dude. I have a 19-year-old, almost 19. So.
Yeah.
right, but it
before you
hasn't
blink,
been. But it hasn't been.
It's ups, downs, all over the places. I was prior to becoming a single dad. I was used to coming as I went, I should say, running around,
Yeah.
enjoying myself downtown, as you know, and
Absolutely.
Sowing your wild oats.
I was. I actually signed my divorce papers today, believe it or not. So
Congratulations. So that means you're ready. And let's give a quick shout out here to Granny Dabbs.
Yep,
She's
absolutely.
Granny Dabbs is Damien's.
Well, she's my mother-in-law,
it's
but
your mother-in-law, but it's actually she's the coolest lady.
She's
It's
cooler
your son's grandma.
it is.
And Granny Dabbs can out-dab, can out-smoke.
She's 72. mind you.
72, dude. We call her Granny Dabbs because she rips face dabs. She will put you down. She'll put me down. She'll put anybody down.
Buddy,
She's a
your
sweetheart.
mom knows down. Right?
She's a veteran in this, that's for sure.
So in saying that, with over the moon clothing and stuff like that, you haven't be the parent. You haven't been able to pick your spots and stuff like that. That's why Hash Bash is a big.
This weekend.
What do you expect, or what can people expect, and why do they come and see you? I mean,
Well,
first of all you have to do is listen, because this guy right here,
I sell stuff. That's what I do.
You can sell. This guy can sell anything to anybody.
Plugging myself right now. Right?
No, I'm
you got a
plugging
house
you
want me
too.
to sell whatever you need me to sell. You just got to say the magic word: commission. Okay, I work off of that.
That's it.
That's it.
And that's true, and I've seen that. So so you'll be out.
We'll be out at the Monroe Street Fair in Ann Arbor from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Saturday for the Hash Bash, and we'll be boothed up. I had a 10x10 booth out there, our clothing booth. You can't miss us. I'm going to have 20 feet flags in the sky and tons of T-shirts and hats and all new limited edition things, some classics that we had that we're now bringing back. Strictly for this event. So if you're lucky, you may even get a autographed T-shirt from Over the Moon and Darren McCarty. We may have a few out there. Not too many, but just a few.
I might have found a couple
Yeah, we
that
found a
I
couple.
had that I might have signed and dropped off to you that
Yeah,
maybe people
a couple
wanna
laying
have.
around. So make sure you're lucky and be one of the first people to get there and stop by our booth, because these won't last long. I mean, if you've been to Hash Bash or seen Hash Bash, we're talking in excess of over 30 to 40,000 people in a 12-hour period. So get there. Because if you don't, you will see somebody else wearing it and be pissed you didn't get one.
That's true.
Point blank.
Now, let me ask you this, D, because when we met 4 years ago, you are actually a reality TV show
I have done
star.
some reality show.
You did.
I don't know about how much of a star I was.
Well,
but
what was it called?
it was called Motor City High. We did that project in 2015 with Complex Media out of New York City. And they came out to Michigan and filmed a show about, it was one of the first shows in Michigan that ever was done about cannabis. And at that time, back in 2015, the laws were different. So we were really rolling the dice with this project. Like, we want to be informative and let people know about cannabis lab testing, but at the same time, we had to kind of stay on the, oh, there you go. You got me on the screen. Cool. Once upon a time, man,
So what did you try to? What was the whole thing with Motor City
It was
High?
about lab testing and how important it is to know what you're smoking. I mean, just because somebody's growing it doesn't mean it's good. You can get powdery mildew, mites. People, some people are greedy. They put stuff out in the street that's not what it's supposed to be. If it's supposed to be medicine, it should be treated like a medicine. And that was what we were trying to accomplish by that, was getting the people more informed about cannabis lab testing in general.
So one of the things that I've learned from you, from the education side of it, whatever, is and it goes to the point that maybe that it's not tested, or that so it's not what you're smoking, it's who grew it, where it's coming from. As far as I tell people, what I learned is, don't tell me what the strain is, tell me who grew it, what's the company name, and things like that.
There's a lot of good growers here in Michigan. I mean,
Absolutely.
Everybody always talks about California, but I'm being honest with you, Michigan's swinging with the big boys on this one.
Well, here's the thing: the word on the word in is that Michigan's edibles are off the hook, right? Michigan owns the edible market, but then the flower and the concentrate game are slowly coming
That's
up,
what I'm
because
hearing.
Who do you have some favorite growers?
I do. I do.
Okay.
And I'm really, to those who know me, which how
Okay,
I operate.
wait. I'll tell everybody how he operates. Why do I love testing at any contest with Damien, together? Because Damien is a fucking pot snob, okay? He only smokes gas.
They'll give me 40
They'll
samples, I
give
smoke
40
five.
samples, and he will literally go, no, and just look at it and go, no, and won't even, and I'll be sitting over here he'll do I'll do these 14, those 26, I ain't touching those.
They're all yours.
So what are you looking for?
Gas.
Tell me what
I
you're
like a specific smell to a strain. It's got to be loud, obnoxious, kind of similar to when you cut an onion and you're standing
on the fruit side. Because
I like more gassy strains,
So-
more OG Kush type of strains. I do have my own strain with Sin City Seeds. They bred a strain for me. I gave them one of my plants, and they crossed it. And it's called Over the Moon Kush, which is headband times blue power.
Okay.
It was actually High Times Magazine's top 10 strain of 2017, voted by the public. So we were in the magazine for that.
Okay.
We've won several competitions with it. So now it's like, what can we do next to trump that, you know?
Okay.
And we're actually moved on to a new genetic now that we have. It's called Moon Mints. It's the Over the Moon, which
Now,
is the top
these
10
that you're
strain.
attracted to, are they indica dominant?
Indica dominant,
Yeah.
hybrids.
Yeah.
Okay.
Every
Hybrids more on the indica side.
Every competition that I judge, I always, what he was talking about, me knowing how to get more. I always judge hybrid because it's the biggest category.
Okay.
So when you do a high times judging, typically speaking, you'll get 41 samples per category. But,
Okay.
you know, and we
Jesus,
just happen
dude,
to.
that's a lot of samples.
Yeah, they only give us a few days to do it too, so I got to take a couple days off and stuff. And
So that's awesome. So
I
when
don't.
you guys are together.
I don't. That just
Yeah, me and
rolls
him,
in-
it's
that
never
just
a
rolls
problem.
into my day. But here's the whole thing too. So the moon mint, Sin City Mint.
It's Sin Mint Cookie,
Sin Mint
which is
Cookie.
another top 10 strain
Right.
of 2015 in High Times. We
So
took
these-
that and crossed it to the Over the Moon.
I just got
so.
into the mint cookie thing. So
Yeah.
my whole thing is anxiety and bedtime, like
Me too.
insomnia.
I don't like sativas at all.
No.
If you watch the show on that Gorilla Glue episode of that Motor City High, at the end of the show, they actually bug my eyes out because that's how it makes me feel. Like I do not like them. I stay away from them. I just gave him some tonight. That's 100% sativa. The only reason I grow
Our
it
buddy Doc.
is just because one of my patients likes it. But I'm not big in it at all. It gets my blood pressure too out of whack.
Isn't that something?
I don't
gives
eat
me
edibles.
migraines.
But it's the education. It's the
I've tried
education. And speak to that, Damien, because
Yep.
I'm sitting here talking to one of the most knowledgeable in the game, connected people I know around here. But what is your I guess your mission statement when it comes to Damien DiStefano when it comes to wheat? Because people need to know that everybody's different in what they look
Here
for.
it is. Don't bring me no garbage. Okay?
Right.
If you see me in public, bring your best. Because if you don't, I may end up on a radio show like this talking about you. Okay.
Right, because you just call it like see
you
it.
could either be talked about very wellly or talked about like you don't care about it. It's your choice.
But you don't fuck with edibles.
I do not. And let me tell you why.
Okay.
I was a judge in 2013 in Denver, Colorado, and they gave us an edible pack that had 60 entries in it. Some were edibles as well. And I got back to our hotel room after a long day of vending, and I'm like, oh, let me check out this judge's pack. And they had a trick-or-treat size candy bar, a little Three Musketeers size or whatever, and I'm thinking, what's that going to do to me? It's tiny. Well, I ate it, and it was wrapped in maple bacon that had been medicated. Now, they don't tell you how strong these things are or where they come. It's all blind testing.
You got to remember, this is
They don't give you.
Well, this is 6 years ago, too.
Yeah,
okay.
now it's a
this
little
is 2013. Now, now
No,
it's
they hand you a bag and say, here you go, see you in 7 days.
right.
Write your stuff
the
down.
way it used to be.
So I ate this edible, and I'm not feeling nothing. It was delicious. It was one of the best chocolates I've ever had. The problem was about 45 minutes later when it kicked in, I was, foaming to the mouth almost. I was that high. Come to find out, it was 1,000 milligrams. And I had to be back to another event to vend in 3 hours. Well, that wasn't happening. I was crashed out in the hotel. Then the air difference out there, just in Denver in general. The
altitude got you.
Oh, my God. I had to send
Hell
my
yeah,
staff.
dude, the altitude got me
I
in
had to send the
2010. I was
staff to the-
shit-faced, drunk, but the altitude got me.
Yeah, I had to send the staff out there. 16 hours I was on this ride. And, to the point where I was sweating so bad, I almost asked my buddy to drive me to the hospital. And then I thought, I'll never hear the end of this if they take me to the ER.
You were going to be one of those edible kids in the
Yes,
hospital.
Yeah. So ever since then, I've never ate an edible since.
See, here's...
It just turned me off to being that high,
Dude, I don't blame you.
It was a paranoia high. It wasn't a good high,
That sucks, dude.
I'll tell you,
didn't like
that's
that.
what people got to understand. You will misuse marijuana in a way once, right?
Right.
I've edible not to that point, but I've RSO'd myself at the beginning when these guys are telling me just use a little bit of rice, just use rice.
Listen, you
and
couldn't
after
tell
a
this
bunch
guy
of
shit at
rice-
first. You tell him, hey, take it easy and just do
Dude,
a little bit.
and then they watch me
And
do
you
it.
know his personality. He's got to fucking try it all because he's got to eat the whole fucking bag to prove you're wrong, right?
Or just to see, and then to go, dude, I should have listened to you.
Yeah.
But you only do it once.
Here's my favorite story about you and weed. You ready?
Yeah.
Bring it.
I got a lot of them here,
Yeah.
but this is one of my favorites.
Okay.
This is at the old house. when I first started coming over, hanging out at your old house, we barbecue in the backyard. Okay. So I come over one day, and it's spring, possibly, I think around May, June. And I come over, and I'm saying, hey, Mac, what's going on, man? He goes, I got to show you something. So he takes me over on the side of his shed. This fucking guy's got 13-foot plants growing over the top of his fence, right?
Oh, yeah.
I tell him, listen, man, you may not want to do that, man. This is a couple years ago. I said, Oakland County really ain't cool with that. He goes, I said, I know you are who you are, but still, you may get a visit over this, you know?
Right.
Come to find out, every neighbor on the street's growing weed. Fuck his next door neighbor, the other one.
yeah.
I'm going, I love this neighborhood. I need to move in down here. You know?
Hey, listen, that was my first grow. You were impressed with those monsters.
I was
though.
impressed. I walk around the corner, I don't know what this guy's going to show me. And when I mean 13 feet, I'm talking every bit of 13 feet. And it wasn't like they were done in June. You still got to grow to October. By the end of the season, it's over the top of the garage. I wouldn't even go over there. I was scared. I look around the sky for the helicopter.
I might have a picture. I still might have a picture of that. I got
not
if I
joking
do.
around, man. I mean, he was serious. And it came out good, too. And I come over there. He says, he trimmed it all. I says, where you been learning all this stuff? Well, I've been researching, he tells me.
That's it. I've been learning. Well, do you remember? Because we shot right near the beginning, I like you're saying, about 6 months, there's a video where we sat down in my garage.
Yeah.
And we were talking about, the recovery.
Am I Mary J? That's online on YouTube as well.
Right.
And then we did another one with a second series. We did the sesh at
Right.
my store. My neighbors hated me for that after we had that show at the store. You could smell weed through the complex for the next 6 weeks after we did that show. It was pretty intense, man. Okay, I mean it was, 20 guys sitting in there in the film crew. The sound guys, he didn't even smoke. He left there. He said, I don't know if I could do this show no more. I'm too fucking high. I was going to fall over. So
I love it.
We had to find 420 friendly film people.
Right.
To be with this because that was a big
just
task.
Not just that's the plan.
Yeah, can I send that to you?
Dude,
How can you show people that?
Put it in the locker room.
All right.
Yeah.
See if I can get it in there. All right, don't mind me. You got other weed stories?
Oh man, I got tons of them. What do you mean? This is what I do. So
Here's
another one. Okay?
Give the people
Here's another one here. Okay. So we go down to the THC Expo at the Rooster Tail in Detroit, Michigan, off Jefferson. And I'm vending. I'm a clothing vendor there at this point. So I have Mac come out, and we're signing shirts we did together, right? And he's got a line out the door of these shirts. All of a sudden, I can't find him. He's high. He had to go. Listen, when he needs to go, he goes. He don't wait. He don't tell you bye. You look up, where's Mac? Gone. You see the tailpipe.
Ninja dust.
I mean, and so I asked my buddy, what happened with Mac? He says, I told him not to eat that fucking edible again. And here he goes, wrecked. All you see is his tailpipe smoking. They're going down the road from the window.
But here's the thing: is what you'll learn is when you get, are you not right?
I
when you get to that mode, when you have that window,
yeah,
right, where you got to get somewhere because this ain't good. I overdid it. I don't do that much anymore.
No, listen, that's because you haven't hung out with me in a while. So listen, this is what we're gonna do, right? This year. I told him a couple years ago I was gonna make him a custom Santa Claus sack with the number 23 on it. And when he
23, 25.
25, sorry.
I mean, isn't that?
Sorry, man. You gave me that good weed. You see what happens?
He's from New York, man. Sorry.
Sativa.
So I went ahead and we were going to make this Santa Claus sack for him when he goes to these weed events with me. All he's got to do is walk around and open it up. And people just throw shit in, man.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful
world. Please keep doing it. Guys, please keep doing it. I really love it. So are you, so you're going to be up, you said there, are you going to be anywhere else
I am
this
also
weekend?
going to be...
Where
we're
are all
staying at the Wyndham Garden Hotel for the
Okay.
Hash Bash Cup. You'll also be able to see me there Friday evening and Sunday. Saturday will be all day on Monroe Street in Ann Arbor. I mean, I'll be out there till the
So they got weed at the Wyndham. That's the
you can go there,
big-
pick up meds. It is a recreational event, so
It is a
it's
recreational
over
event.
21 is what I'm hearing. So that'll be awesome for the public, just to get an opportunity because there hasn't been since it's been recreational any huge events. So as far as recreational is concerned, so
Right. Well, it's one of those things. Yeah, there you go.
At this
There-
point,
right
man,
there, dude.
that's it. That's the plan. That's a true story. And that picture right there, that was in June. Okay, it was in June. Does it say when it was? So
I don't know.
May or June, right? So you figured outdoor weed isn't done till late September, early October. So imagine how
That might
big
have
that thing
been
got.
July. But yeah,
Either way, it was over the top. It was over the top of that satellite dish by the time he was done. Okay, and I'm going, hey man, you ought to be careful with that. Fuck it, he says. You know.
Now I don't have to worry. Now I don't have to worry about it.
No, now it's a new time. You know.
Now.
When I started, I initially opened a certification clinic. That was my first business in 2010.
Cool.
And we certified over 30,000 people. And
Good
then
place to start.
It was at that time. It was good for me because I didn't have to get involved with the actual medicine. And in the county that I live in, it wasn't really cool to get involved with the medicine at that point.
Right.
So for me, it was good. It was still in the industry without being in the industry per se. So I no longer own that business, but that was a good ride with that. You know, I learned a lot. I definitely learned about the laws.
Okay.
That's how I was able to inform Darren.
So you had physicians on payroll?
I did.
Okay.
I had 7 physicians open 7 days a week.
Wow.
We were open. We were the only clinic it's actually today that there's a new owner, but it's still the only certification clinic in Oakland County.
Wow. Okay.
I smashed them, man. I wasn't playing around. I went out there and let them know I was in town, you know. And
Cool.
and it's crazy because when I told my dad I was going to open that type of business, he says, "You're going to go to prison," because he's in New York.
Right.
What are you talking about? And you know, a couple of years went by. I had to show him a legitimate tax return, and then he was like, he started to understand what's going on out here. Now he's asking me, how do we do this in New York? So it's just amazing.
Where are they at in New York? Where are they at?
Well, the governor's Cuomo's talking about just going wreck with it.
Okay.
I don't think that'll happen right away,
Okay.
for obvious reasons with organized crime and things like that
Sure.
in New York. I think they're going to.
Or maybe that's why he said just go wreck. Maybe.
I mean, you know, to me, I didn't necessarily, I wasn't a fan of it going wreck here in Michigan. I mean,
No?
I mean, teach his own. I think anybody over the age of 21 should be able to choose whatever they want to do, whether it's gambling, drinking, smoking, whatever it may be, you know. But I just feel like it hurts it's going to help with jobs. It's going to help with money for the state. But what happens to all these people that were friends of mine that got raided years ago before it was wrecked? Now everybody thinks it's all cool. Well, it wasn't cool when my buddies were getting their doors kicked open because the state didn't know how to operate correctly with it. And now that they finally got, you know, a gist of how much money they can make, now they're involved. Well, had they done this 10 years ago?
Yeah.
I mean, keep in mind, the medical program, I mean, the law passed in 2008. It's 2019, and there's still no really great definition with the law. So, I mean, so much so that the governor just came in and appointed a new board to do all this. So, obviously, I wasn't the only one that wasn't thinking they were doing their job. So,
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that and then one of the things that I like is the conversation and progression. And, you know, when we talk cannabis, and we all know Jamie Lowell and Rick Thompson that have been here.
yeah, great guys.
Well, Rick's sitting in the meetings, and the first question is, there's the article that I posted on Grind Time.
Yeah.
Right, is the fact that what went wrong. And the money's where it went wrong.
That's
you know,
where it
it's
went wrong.
charging too much and having to show too much and trying to, you know, this and that. So
What happens with all, and this is just my opinion.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
but I have been in the industry a long time, so I am knowledgeable of it. What happens is this: when you make these licenses so much money, you get people involved with it that don't know shit about cannabis.
absolutely,
They got
just have
big
the-
money.
right?
They're in it just because of that.
Yeah.
Right.
That takes away from the actual medicine, and guys who I know who are really good growers that should be hired by these companies or even be able to have the opportunity to start their own.
Right.
But when you set it at $1 million and then you expect that these people are going to show money for the last come on. Look, you just like you get a liquor license, okay? Yeah, they do a few checks. You put up some money, you got a liquor license. Why are they making this so difficult?
Right.
At this point, it shouldn't be that difficult.
No.
It should be transferable.
I would think that
if
they
you don't
want-
to own it anymore, you can sell it. Just like you can a liquor license. I mean, the state would benefit from that way more.
Well, that was
Than
kind of
fucking
the
around
intent.
the way they are,
The
you
kind of
know?
the spirit of the spirit of the legislation was to legalize and control like alcohol.
Absolutely.
That was kind of the intent.
The problem was they had people up there on that board that didn't know what they were doing. They
mean,
need to
that's an
get people.
understatement.
They
It
need to
was
get
horrible.
people
The board
in the
was-
community up in Lansing, like Rick Thompson,
Do
like
you-
Jamie
do
Lau,
you-
who
so
knows
He's there
their
now.
stuff.
So my
He's in the room now.
Yeah.
He's in
My
the meeting.
question
He's
to
great.
you, right? My question to you, and this is what I look forward to learning or intermingling. Like, and anybody who has these questions, show up at the Hash Bash. The best part, I've been there and I've spoken on the Hill, but to be around, because you're around to get answers or to ask questions with like-minded people.
Yep.
To not get the bullshit. You're not going to get any bullshit there. It's about moving forward. And my whole thing is that to know that you have a choice, right? It's not whether you do or don't, but know that this is an option that you,
Absolutely.
right? And like you said, so for you that has been around this and in this area and coming from the certification and the clothes and all this, so at this point, saying April 3rd, 2019, do you think, Damien DiStefano, that we're at least headed in the right direction?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Now, what I will say is these shop owners that do get their license, once they get their license, make smart decisions. Don't hire a person for $10 an hour because you think you're going to get the most out of them. Hire somebody who's knowledgeable.
Right.
Worst thing in the world for a guy like me is when I walk into a dispensary and they don't know me, and I tell them I want the top shelf, and they got a girl or guy working behind the counter that's really not that knowledgeable, but because they're only having to pay $10 an hour, they have them behind the counter. I don't want that. That's what these dispensary owners need to overcome right from get-go. A guy like me who's been in the industry 10 years, we can't even get a job in it because they don't want to hire people for what they're worth.
Sure.
That's the thing. Like, it's a bazillion-dollar industry if you make it that way.
Yeah.
Right.
There's money for everybody to go around.
So the idea, my thing is, because if you want to build, right, you put the best possible people in charge. So sometimes paying a little bit up front will
I'm not saying
benefit
every
the
one
back
of your
end.
employees got it, but
No,
have a couple on hand that are more knowledgeable than the average person.
totally fair.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not blowing
Totally
my
fair.
own horn saying that. I'm just saying I have taken the time to research these strains. I do got a resume with it. I can't tell you. I've gone to a few dispensaries already, and these guys know me.
Yeah.
But they don't want to pay the money, and that's a huge problem. And I'm not looking for $1 million, but if you're going to talk about jobs, don't just give jobs away to people that don't.
Right.
I mean,
and I think that's where
like putting an idiot behind the bar, and,
I think
and they
it's
don't know how to
res-
make a drink. For example, I'm just using that as an example.
No,
but,
because the responsibility of the people moving forward, whoever is
we have to
fortunate
we have
enough.
to set standards.
Yes.
And if we don't, then you're going to be smoking bullshit, and they'll be talking about us like Colorado. Yeah, Colorado's got tons of weed, but it's horrible. If you've ever been out there to Denver and actually smoked their flower, I'm not impressed at all.
I have heard that from
Yeah, and
from
it
people
goes
from
down.
Colorado.
The quality goes
Right.
down because these people don't want to pay for it. Well, if you don't want to pay for it, then you're gonna. What gives the grower more incentive to grow anything better? He's gonna stop where he's at with it.
Right.
There's always gonna be people like myself who appreciate good cannabis no matter what it costs.
Absolutely.
But there's a lot of people who don't are knowledgeable to know what good cannabis.
But here's the whole thing too, D, is because your education on it also too is what works for you, and the higher you don't. The
I don't
higher
fuck around. I want the good shit.
Right, but you also get where you're going, and you need what you do for less amount. You got some
Yes.
people don't understand. You're gonna sit there and smoke a half an ounce of sour diesel that's like this, and you could smoke 2 grams of freaking headband and get to the same spot.
Exactly.
Wouldn't you rather get there and save?
Well, at the end of the day, it's each his own.
Right,
As far
but
as
it's
with
education. Do you not
Got to
think
be educated behind it.
on your own
And
system?
believe me, a lot of these dispensary owners, they're not going to take the time to educate you. Okay, at the end of the day, it's a retail business, and they're looking to make money.
Well, here's the thing:
So-
is you have lifelong cannabis users.
Yes.
My mom, one of them in particular, right?
Yep.
And when this started happening, and I started becoming involved in the industry, and had people that know way more than me, and I'm sharing this and passing it to my mom, like, Mom, guess what's happening? And
Yeah.
she's been, I remember the red hairs in her shit. It's in my mind, and the smell of that red hair Scentsy is like ingrained.
Hey, if she can get some of that, can you bring?
It
That's
was-
that old Panama red.
Man, we need some of that.
It was hit and miss for them, and when they got the good stuff,
Yeah.
and
That's how it
good.
was. Even with me, I'm in my 40s, so growing up in the early 90s, what we thought was good weed back then wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
And just to see the progression of where it's going from, say, 1990s to now.
Yeah, but I brought my
It's
mom up
unbelievable.
because the challenge that we have, like us here as purveyors of cannabis for medical use, for responsible adult recreational use, is that take somebody like my mom, who she's lived marijuana, she's lived it, right? She had no idea that the indica sativa thing was now such a thing because it's being grown so well. She's like, Timmy, just give it to me. Yes, exactly. And not just my mom,
Yeah.
but other,
No,
other
I was that
lifelong
way.
friends. Yeah,
He was.
right.
Listen, Darren would smoke anything. It didn't matter what it
No,
was.
I had
seen
no
you,
like.
listen, this is the first time I seen you with a jar that actually has a name on it, okay?
He's
come a long way.
Yeah, but
Yes.
there's 8 different things in here. though.
That's the thing, though. At first, you wouldn't even
And you're
carry
proud-
a jar with
you're
a
proud
name
of
on
me,
it.
aren't you?
I am.
It's headband because that's Damien's favorite.
That's my favorite strain, man.
Yeah.
of all time.
So we have to work against people who who are lifelong cannabis users, we got to work through that,
Absolutely.
right? So we have as purveyors of cannabis, we have a lot of work to do. I mean, because you consider we have to educate the people who are lifelong users.
Yeah, but that's
and we
fine.
gotta-
But that's
No,
okay because
yeah,
here's
I'm
the
saying.
thing: is that isn't it great? Now I look at it like we get to a point is that we can break it down and look into it because now the information is more out there. Now the testing's more out there. Now we can go specific, so it can be like, hey, Mom, I know you're smoking this or whatever, but here, smoke this. But then when you want this, here, because I love, right? Like Damien says, I'll have a jar. And it'll be a mix of whatever, and I'll pull it out, and try to decide, and I can tell the difference. Where I've learned now the structure from an indica to sativa or a hybrid.
Oh, you've come a long way.
Yeah, but Timmy,
Is that headband right there?
no,
What is it?
there's like
Potpourri.
there is some
Potpourri of
headband in
56
there.
flavors for
There's there's some Death Star. There's some sour diesel. There's a bunch of different things in here. But but the whole thing, right? The whole thing is that I'll have my jar that I'll know where it is. And then when I want to go to sleep, where's my dank Death Star? Where's my Nighty Night? Where's my Mendo Breath? Where's my 9-pound hammer? Where do I go when I need to know, like, if I'm not messing around?
Just the fact that you've learned all those strains that do that, I'm impressed.
Well, that's and
I got to be honest with you.
from where I
Because now you know what works for you.
Well, that
At first, you didn't know.
No.
It took time. Just like the average patient. When you're going in and you're into these dispensaries, yeah, sometimes it's a gamble. You gotta wonder what's going to work for me. And sometimes you got to go through 10 bad ones to get to that one good one.
Yes.
But here's the thing, though, and I think that to Tim, and this is your purveyor, not only to the older, to the younger, whatever, is the conversations. And I know that if I haven't tried something, or if I'm looking, he's one of the guys where I'll call, have you had this, or do you know this company, or do you know different things like that? Because why? It's because early on, Damien was one of the guys that would say, here, why don't you try, maybe you want to go this way, maybe we'll try that. Like, I'll tell you one thing, and this is a fact. The first dab I ever did, right, was Over the Moon, okay?
We actually have it on film on YouTube if you
Okay,
want to see it.
blew my brains out.
His first dab?
Yes.
I'll tell you
fuck outta here.
that Over the Moon, right? Now, the flower's great,
What do I
but
search?
the concentrate, Over the Moon concentrate is the best.
Yeah. Videos.
Hey? The
that?
Over the Moon dab
Just type in YouTube Darren McCarty set.
is the greatest dab there can be. Because why? Because it's
not
like
to
a,
be biased, but I really
No.
do love that strain.
the
Like,
dab is the greatest because it's a trip to Cedar Point. It's a roller coaster ride. I've never had a dab where it sort of, you take it tick, 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 tick up to the top, and you think you're gonna, like, literally your eyeballs are gonna come out. You're gonna, like, die from,
you actually wrote that in a strain.
I
strain shirt.
I did. The
Over the
tree
Moon
shirt.
shirt.
Over the Moon. I wrote, so Over the Moon, I should have worn it tonight. The Over the Moon tree shirt, because they have tree shirts. Oh, there we go.
Is that it?
No, that's Dabs and Drums. That was another show me and him did.
Yeah, we
We've
did
done
Dabs and
quite a
Drums
few
with Dan.
together.
Okay.
We were dabbing on there, though.
Type right there, third one down.
Right
Oh, right
There it
there.
is.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, remember that one?
Well, this
Yeah,
ought to
we've
be
done
good.
quite a bit of films together. Now that I'm thinking back, like,
Yeah, we're
shit.
just, hey, dude, now that we're going to be doing a lot more.
And this is my Mary J, bitches.
That was a good one. It's about halfway through the video. You can see me actually dab with.
Anyways, Over the Moon, right? So it'll take you, choke you out, and then it, like, lets you off the hook, and it's like a ramp and fires you out into the water.
Got to go a little more forward.
Okay. That's fine.
It's coming. Coming up close here.
Let's see. You definitely
A little more.
need it because
Okay.
it's the.
You would not. Some people don't want the 25%. It's not always about somebody that has had an addiction to pills where it went to the point.
When it comes to that, but just on your point about the pills, not only that, I'm an alcoholic.
Not quite sure. I think it's coming.
Yeah.
Right here. Here we go.
Look at that. Like, God, is that beautiful.
To be biased on any other strain.
The good old days with that shit.
Dude, dabs FaceTime.
Jesus.
Oh, does this give me the dab face?
The problem is it just looks like you're getting ready to smoke meth, man.
Listen, the first time I ever saw it, I was about to punch this guy. I thought, what are you bringing in my house? You know? And then I learned about it. And
That is true, though.
Not too
When
many
you
people
do,
can-
it's like, you know, wait a sec. You coming free base and
Nobody can ever say they gave you your first dab. I got it on film here, so if anybody else says it, they're fucking lying.
no, this is the truth right here.
It doesn't get better than this, bro.
No word ever been said.
Jesus, dude. You went deep for your first. Oh, dude. Oh, buddy.
That's the shirt I did with him right there.
Oh, buddy.
Good stuff.
I got the dab shots too, big time. But you know what, Tim? I firmly believe that's the medication. That's the medical part of the cannabis. That's the medication activating.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm going with it anyways. There it was, right there. Yeah, thanks, T. Doesn't get any better than this. You nailed that one.
Yeah, that was a good show. That was good times. We educated some people that day. That was
How long ago was that?
That was in 2016.
Yeah,
We did that.
it was like 3 years ago.
Yeah, it was right after we did the Complex show.
We're gonna have to give some more education as we move forward.
Right on.
So what else? So other than that, you got all those shows coming up. What else
Man,
you
we're
got
on
into?
We're on the road again. I'll just put it to you like that. I've got 32 shows booked in the next 16 weeks. so.
Okay, now how long have you been doing the
Clothing?
the circuit?
I've been on the road doing clothing since 2011.
What are you at now?
263 events
260.
worldwide. Yeah, I don't fuck around. It could be your garage sale, a big music festival, fucking bar mitzvah. I don't care. If you got something you want me to set up at, you're gonna buy a T-shirt. We're showing up.
So what? Tell the guy. So Moonrags.
Moonrags with a Z.com.
M-O-O-N-R-A-G-Z.com.
You can also follow me.
RAGZ.com.
You can also
I got a
follow
link
me
on
on
the stream.
Instagram at Over the Moon Clothing Company. That's where we post 90% of our stuff. We're very active on social media, so you can find us there. We're actually live on my Instagram page right now, guys. So the viewers are tuned into your show and getting a laugh out of it. But yeah, we sell hats, T-shirts. I love it, man. It's nobody hates the hat guy.
So here's
You know?
the thing. I gotta tell you. No, I gotta tell you
Can't
this.
really get mad at the hat guy. Right?
Which my boy here, so a bunch of different hookups, but one of the best hookups was 2016 in February when we went out and played in the outdoor game in Colorado. So the Grassroots boys, Robert and
Ruga.
yeah, the boys out there for Grassroots, which are the hats, right? So Damien hooks me up there. So you know the Mr. Chimpo hat I always wear, right? That's one of from those
Yep.
guys.
The robe was the best.
The robe is the best. I got the crap.
They gave him the Hugh Hefner
Yeah,
fucking robe.
the cro-
The goat coat.
It was-
Yeah,
it was
exactly. It
awesome.
says Grassroots. Looks like Crown Royal.
Oh, you have another one from them. You got a robe.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
dude.
yeah,
With
he's
the
got-
weed on the inside, I'll have to bring it
Oh,
in.
okay. All right.
Listen, there was a point in time where I'd keep him with so much over the moon shit. Every time I'd run into him, he was wearing it.
Dude, I have. I do. I have
Half
a
his
bunch of
closet
different
was over the moon.
What do you? What are certain things? Let people know out there. Like, what are the different? I see what you got. Upstate Trees.
Yeah,
on. You got
that's
tree
my
shirts.
buddy's tree shirts. They're based out of New York. I've known him since we were kids. Grew up in the bunk beds, you know. And he happens to own a clothing company too, based out of New York. So I sell his stuff. I'm a retailer for probably 10 different companies worldwide. If you got something you want me to sell and you say the word commission and it's something I won't end up in the penitentiary for, come call me.
He's your guy. I mean, this guy.
Houses,
will sell-
cars, it don't fucking matter. You know, I was the pizza man in New York for 10 years.
Tell us a couple stories about that. How about this one? So
Oh,
you got to
man.
tell. So
I've
Damien,
had a crazy
Wait,
life.
wait. Right. So will you break it down and say
right.
like how you grew up and then
So here it is. I grew
working
up-
for your uncle
I
and
grew up
give
in-
everybody like how the real
deal.
The
Okay.
grind time with Darren McCarty. This is the
This
real
is as real as just as real raw and uncut. Really, you're just gonna get one time. I'm gonna say.
All right, good.
All right. So I grew up in New York. My family my father owns an insurance company, and he knows everybody. My grandfather owned the dry cleaners there. We've been business owners. Both of my brothers are business owners as well. So I come from a long line of business owners, and I got hooked up with the neighborhood pizzeria. My uncle Sammy owns a pizzeria called TJ's Pizza in Poughkeepsie, New York. Poughkeepsie, the last stop on the train, man. Close enough to the city, but far enough to get away from the bullshit, you know? So I grew up there, and it was tough growing up there. It was a rough area,
it's a
you know.
ghost
And
town, dude.
we, you know, it's really went downhill. So I was the pizza guy, man. I started delivering pizzas at 13 years old on a bicycle, okay? And then I went from there and delivered pizzas shit into my 20s. The craziest thing about pizza is pizza don't discriminate, okay? You could be a fucking bazillionaire or a stone cold crackhead. You call, I'm bringing you the shit. You know what I mean? So I learned that hustle. You know, first one to get back gets the next delivery, you know? So that's how my whole life went. 6 days a week, 12 hours a day. So, I mean, I've seen every part of New York you could possibly imagine. And, you know, we knew every cop. My uncle's a bookie, you know what I mean? So I grew up very early understanding sports, just from a different way.
Right.
You know.
So my favorite story is like, so you had a pretty good, like you learn the ins and outs, and you got to make an extra dollar.
You gotta know who's who. You know, I was delivering weed into pizzas. That was great.
Wait. So this is my favorite story, right?
So
and he's
added
like,
value.
so my uncle, he
Listen.
all right, we're delivering I'm doing this shit for probably a year, man. People are calling the pizzeria,
Right, and
requesting me, right? And my uncle knows what time it is with me. He's like, I know you ain't that fucking fast, asshole, so what are they calling here for? I blow it off. They know me. I know everybody. Well, after it went on for a year, my uncle wasn't fucking stupid, okay? So he caught on to it, and these are the words he said to me. Cut me in or cut it out, motherfucker.
Dang, dude.
So that was my retirement day in the weed business throughout the pizza.
Bro,
know?
you definitely come from a family of hustlers.
Listen, it was an interesting situation. in New
Tell
York,
a couple
you know?
like how real is like you go into the hood or
Oh, man,
you go
listen,
into the
we delivered to every housing project in the city of New York.
These are my favorite.
So you get in the summertime, and the fucking elevators are broke. You got to walk up 32 flights of stairs because there's no elevator, and you don't get tipped. Okay.
Right.
So you got to think of how am I going to make some extra money? Because now I just walked all the way up these goddamn stairs, and I got to walk back down them, and I got nothing because some people don't tip. Believe it or not, tip your pizza guys. Okay, that's what I'll say tonight. Tip your pizza guys, especially in New York because they work hard, man.
Did you ever do anything to a pizza?
No, I never fucked with people's food. I wasn't into that shit. Now I had a couple incidents where I had to throw pizza at somebody.
Okay.
I did do that.
Okay.
A couple drunks, you know. Like I said, you're going to people's homes. You're seeing them at their fucking worst, their best. Fucking, they're in there getting high off other shit before they open the door. I mean, I've seen it all. I've seen people answer the door naked. I mean, I should have did this a show. It should have been Pizza Delivery Confessions. I would have made $1 million doing it.
Dude.
You see people
talking.
at their fucking realest, man.
Yep.
At their home.
It's almost like
You know?
would you say it's almost like you're invisible? Like it's
they
like,
open
give me my food. You don't
know?
see shit. It
No.
doesn't matter if there's somebody in a bondage over in
Doesn't
the back.
matter. Just give me the money. I'm out of here. On to the next one. I probably delivered over 1 million pizzas in 10 years because we were open 12 hours a day. We had a 10 phone line system and pizzas just like Coney's here in Detroit.
Yeah.
Now you're
That's
in
their
New York.
thing.
Do you got to carry a gun?
You weren't supposed to, but
But you were in some spots where you.
yeah, fuck yeah.
You ever scared?
I had one incident in 10 years. I had a couple incidents, but I had one real incident. Some young kid, 17 years old, if I was to guess, try to rob me for the pizza, and you give up the money because those are the kids that'll shoot you.
Right.
Because they're just
They
trying
don't know
to get
anybody.
a rep, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you give them I gave him the money or whatever, and it sucked. Then I went back to my uncle, and he fucking screamed at me about the fucking money because that's how he is. They weren't going to rob you. They were just talking to you. I'm like, what do you mean, bro? I was there.
Felt like
you
a
know?
robbery. Yeah.
Like, this is how this is
The
how
gun
he
was
was.
cold against my temple.
I mean, if you met this guy, man, he's a no-nonsense motherfucker. Like, you know, the cops even gamble with him there. You know, I don't have to put him on blast, but that's how it is back home. You know, so the big joke around town was a chicken parm beat a murder rap. You know, as delivery drivers, man, you know, we used to do shit that was highly illegal. Like I was the king of double parking. Okay. Well, I drove around in this van. It was a white Ford van, and my buddies decided they were going to go to the dollar store one night and buy 1,000 bullet hole stickers and put it all over the van. So I walked out the next morning like I didn't mess with anybody's old lady. I don't owe anybody any money. What the fuck, man? This is personal, right? I see one sticker waving in the wind, so I left these things on. So when I'd pull up to the housing project in the middle of July,
Oh, that's awesome.
everybody be standing outside. They'd be like, "Damn, the fucking pizza man got 9 lives. How the hell did you fucking live through that, bro?" And, you know, in that business, you just got to know how to talk to people. You know, I'm a people person. You could talk your way out of ass beating if you know how to talk to people, you know. And that's 90% of it. Most of the people that I knew that did have issues and got robbed, it's because they just didn't have – you got to be a people person, man. You got to know how to talk to people on the fly and not be afraid, you know. I mean, if you walk in there and – you know, you're in Smith Street Projects in Poughkeepsie, and you walk in there and you look like you're nervous, well, they're going to use that against you. So you gotta go in there like you own the joint. You know, that's just pretty much how it was. And I just got used to it. It just became a way of life, you know, to where I didn't even think about it. But, I mean, we were making $250, $300 a day delivering pizzas. So, you know, it was a good gig for a while. You know, my uncle was tough. You know, he was a tough guy, man. He was a no-nonsense guy. The sanitation department didn't come pick up his trash. He fucking pushes the dumpster in the middle of the road in New York City traffic in rush hour.
Jesus, dude.
It's the type of guy we're dealing with here, okay?
It's a different way of life, man.
It's just I'm very thankful to be in Michigan, you know. Not saying they don't have their issues here, you know, but it's just there's opportunities here that, especially within the cannabis industry, that I would have never got back home.
Right on.
You know, they're giving me awards for shit out here that they'd lock me up for back there. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like the double-edged sword. Like
now, people are going to lay into us if we graze over the fact that you had a reality show. We talked about this at the beginning of the show. I mean, people are going to be like, you got to ask him more about that. How did you fall into that? I mean, you look at it. We played the clip. Yeah. That was a well-produced little reality show about your shop. Like,
thank you. I appreciate
talk to us about how that came about.
Well, I had some friends that I went to high school with in New York, and, you know, we lost contact over the years, but the lovely thing about Facebook is you see everybody. So they had saw
That's
that
the one good thing about Facebook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I hadn't talked to some people in a while, and a buddy of mine named Brian Saxon, who owns Eclectic Productions, Productions, he gave me a message, man. He messaged me and said, look, we're seeing that you're in the business out there. We're kind of interested in doing a sizzle reel with you or something to maybe, you know, promote your business and maybe see if we can get a film with this thing going.
For people don't know the lingo, sizzle reel is just like something, put together your best cuts.
Exactly.
Something that looks attractive. Sizzle. Like sizzle and steak. A sizzle reel is all sizzle, and it's something that people maybe could get an idea of a whole show out of, right?
Think of fajita.
Yeah.
It's like a fajita.
So we did that. We did two of those, actually. We did one in Michigan, and then we turned and went to Denver, Colorado, and they sent a camera crew out there with me to an event I was vending, and they were great, man. They were on the road with these guys. They just were amazed that, I mean, they filmed tons of these. Some of these guys were, you know, have done projects with Travel Channel and National Geographic. They had
You can tell it's well produced.
They had never been involved with the cannabis industry. So when I show up with this film crew to this fucking concentrate event, they were more shocked than anybody. They were like, this is going to make for great film. So they ended up taking it and shopping it to some people and Complex Media out in New York, and they decided that they wanted to do a show, and they contacted me about it, and of course I said, yeah, why wouldn't I, right? This is awesome. Complex, to those who don't know Complex, in New York, they're a very big company. They're owned by Mark Echo from Echo Clothing back in the day. Yeah. And they're
they're
huge.
A channel. They're content creators.
Yeah, and I mean they were very professional. They came out for 17 days. We shot a show, and the coolest part was I got to pick my cast. Cool. So it wasn't like I had to work with people that I didn't really know. I was able to pick the cast that I wanted, so I just got my friends, you know, and some of the great growers that I knew, and nutrient companies, and hip-hop artists. And
now in 2000, this was 2015, right?
Yeah.
Now in 2015, nobody was putting their real name out there.
No.
Nobody was.
It was definitely a risk, and that's one of the reasons why I never got it. Everybody asked me, D, you sell everything. How come you don't sell weed? I said, well, when I did that show, my lawyer sat me down, and he said, listen. You can't be the TV guy and the weed guy. It ain't going to work. You got to be one or the other here. So at that particular time, that's the route I wanted to go with it. You know, I wanted to do the TV thing, and I'd still love to do the TV thing. You know, I'm trying to get in touch with Vice, man. That's the next channel I want to work with, you know. If you're listening, Vice, sign me up here, okay?
Now you're thinking. Yeah.
And you know, that's the angle that I want to go with it, because the education's going to come through that. I can only my voice is only so loud.
Yeah.
You know, here in Michigan, I'd like to get on a, you know, being that we have been on a national company that has done things like that, I'd like to do that again. I think now, especially with it being recreational, there's so much more to show.
Well, I think there's so much, not only, and when you take it back to the reality, and I think you nailed it early on, and when we brought it up the first time, is that the testing, right? The whole thing behind it was Iron Labs, and to get people to realize the testing because there's some bullshit out there.
Absolutely.
And to the education. So you had to make, and we talked about it. You went to be the hat guy, the merch guy, this. Also with your education and relationships on the other end, developing, co-developing the strain over the moon.
I mean, that was wild. That actually, clothing actually created that. And that's how that happened. I was on the road, traveling around the country, and I had to happen to be at an event with the owner of Sin City Seeds, and he constantly see me at these events, and he's like, damn, bro, you sell clothes everywhere. And I'm like, well, you're here at these too, so I could say the same thing about you.
Yeah.
Well, after, we built a friendship off of that. The amount of people, and, I want to say this, the amount of good people that I've met from this cannabis industry is amazing. I mean, these people have literally written me letters. I used to own a certification clinic, and we help people. I've got letters from cancer patients thanking me for helping them. I mean, it's amazing the feedback we got. I mean, me and Darren were on the news. Fox 2 News came and did a report with us about it just because it was that big of a deal at that time in Oakland County.
Wow.
Oakland County was not the county you wanted to roll the dice in, so I rolled the dice. And I was very thankful for
but
it.
the thing is, you did it the right.
I did.
One thing
I stayed
is
out
always,
of what they didn't want me to sell weed. I stayed out of that.
one thing we always preach, or what it is, and it's keep it, follow the rules.
Absolutely.
Now, the hardest part is interpreting the rules because the rules are gray, right?
That's
now we're trying to show me the line so I can choose whether or not to cross it.
Well,
you've done a great job in showing people how to incorporate, but how every aspect, the clothing, because without the clothing, the product, it gives it an extension. The clothing's an extension of the plant. And when people understand that and how they fit in, like you have, where you're all about all of it, but you're to the one.
Well, you could still be involved and not be the guy on the top of the mountain screaming, I'm the guy. You know what I mean? Sometimes it ain't good being the only guy on the island.
Right.
I wanted to wait and see what happened with this whole thing in Michigan. I'd like to get a license like everybody else wants to get a license, but there's a lot associated with that and being able to progress to the next level with it.
No, you just need your own TV show, bro.
That's it.
No, you
Sign
do.
me up, man.
To me, you're the and listen, Tricky says it the best, dude. You sell, what do you say to you outside
Empty boxes. We had empty
He's
boxes.
sitting outside the go-kart place.
Oh, yeah.
One of the first times the guys are going and saying, Damien out there pops up a pop-up tent selling, got shirts. Trick walks by and goes, well, you kid will sell anything. I was like, he's just a hustle. But the hard
rents
work.
do. Okay? At the end of the day, that's how it goes, man. I mean, you got to know where your angle was. And for me, I could be cool with everybody still in the cannabis industry, and there's a lot of competition in this industry. I mean, just like any industry.
Yeah, but here's the whole thing.
Nobody gets, like I said, nobody gets mad at the T-shirt guy because I'm not selling weed, so I can sell as much weed as you want. When you're done, come buy a T-shirt. And that's my.
Everybody needs
and
clothes.
That's why it's worked so well because I never stepped on anybody's toes with it.
Yeah, it's not dumb to sort of dance on the outside of it. Like there's money to be made there.
I mean, perfect example. You go to the Little Caesars Arena for a hockey game or whatever sporting event.
Yeah.
T-shirts, guys got a line every time you go there. It don't matter what game you go to, guys got a line out there killing it. Had I
blind demand.
I mean, at the end of the day, people want a keepsake. It's a niche item.
Yeah.
It's something that they're gonna.
And here's a little tidbit for everybody out there, because when you go to the T-shirt or the hat guy, he knows where the best weed is.
I do.
No. I mean, for when you go to not only that, but you can ask whoever around there, and this is when you go to the top guy, because why? Because all the best weed guys know the best merch guy.
That's it.
Yeah. That's just the way it is. When you want to know, I'll tell you, when I go to, if Damien's not there's a couple of different people and they don't sell weed, but they always know who's got the best weed around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's just building relationships with people over the years.
And that's all it is. And that's what it is. Like you said, so many great people, not only in this state, but all around. And this plant doesn't discriminate color, race, or anything.
Exactly.
No.
And when you get by the fact and you realize that, hey, you don't even have to smoke this plant to enjoy the benefits of it.
Yeah.
What? You don't have smoke mirror? No.
There's so many different ways now. I mean, the cartridges are a big thing. Everybody's on the cartridges. I'm not a real fan of them. I will say that.
Well, you don't like the terps.
Nah, I like it. It's just,
No, you don't.
man, I'm a
You're a
flower
liar.
smoker. I'm old school. I like to smoke
you're
my
such
joints.
a liar, dude.
I will say this. I think they're great when you're in a position where you can't just smoke a joint. You know, movie theater, the airport, wherever you may be, that it's not okay to light a joint up. They are good for that
Right.
purpose.
They're good backup.
But it's not my first go-to.
Right.
No.
I mean, I'm old school, man. I'm more of a flower smoker. I always have been. I do like the concentrates, don't get me wrong, but more at bedtime.
Okay.
You know, I want to go to bed and
See, I always
just
love
get too
dabbing.
fucked up off them.
I love dabbing CBD.
Michigan's not messing around, man.
No.
These guys are putting out fire out here. So it's like
true.
you got to pick and choose what strain you smoke and where you're smoking them.
Well, I mean, there's nothing Michigan has ever fucked around with. Like
I love it
music,
here.
cars,
I love it here.
pizza. I mean,
It's
we don't fuck around.
City opportunity.
Hockey.
Land opportunity out here,
Thank you,
man.
Tim.
We don't fuck
Hey,
around.
so D, let me ask you this. For our listeners out there, do you have any, so like people that are listening that go to them, do you have any favorites or like, I know like one of yours is 710 Savant.
He's definitely one of my favorites.
710 Savant.
I mean, there's a lot of brands that I really do like out here.
Right.
Too many to mention in one show. I mean,
Well, shout some people out. Tell us what you like.
Oh,
Yeah.
man. I mean,
Who comes?
right now I'm definitely smoking, like you said, 710 Savant.
Yeah.
Cocoa Extracts. That's one of my buddies right there.
Yeah,
you got
the
Ross
D.
the Boss.
We'll see them.
Miss Money Penny. Northern Connections. I mean, there's so many. I could sit here for days. My buddy Buford. Some of these guys don't even have companies, man. Some of
Buford-
these guys are just
Does
dynamic
Buford
growers.
hey, is Buford coming out this weekend?
I sure hope so. Buford, if you're
Oh, my
listening,
God,
you better bring
dude.
your ass out
Buford.
this weekend.
I'll tell you that.
Buford's got
Miss
fire.
Money Penny Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
No joke.
Dude.
Wait, but you used to have a drink, right?
I did at one point. I mean, I didn't. I only.
That thing fucked me up.
It was a 300 milligram moon.
That shit fucked me up.
I wasn't into them. Like I said, I didn't really mess with edibles after my Denver experience. I did taste it because I had to make sure it tastes good for people.
It did taste good,
but
it
that was a
strong.
collaboration that I did with the Power Buds girls.
Yeah.
And they, yeah, it was 300 milligrams, man. And people told me, like, yeah, dude, we won a couple competitions with it, and they tested to make sure those milligrams were exactly what we said.
Yeah.
And we were within a matter of points. And it was 300 milligrams in an 8-ounce bottle. And your fucking day was
Dude, if
over.
I tell you that, I was like, I couldn't
Don't make
drink
plans.
because I didn't like it. Timmy made me feel like I drank one or whatever, and I was like, I feel like I'm drunk. I don't
8
like
ounces
that.
is like
It was
That's
terrible.
like airplane amount,
Yes,
right? Like,
it was, and nobody thinks about it because they go, "What is this little bottle?" So and I tell them all, this is the best. When I tell them, everybody, take it easy, and they go, "Ah, I know about all that."
Yeah.
Well,
We-
you fuck with the moon juice.
We know somebody like that.
I
that
sure
that
do. Listen,
happened to.
when I first met him, it was his whole MO, man. He was like, I was like, hey, man, take it easy with this one. He'd be like, fuck that shit. And then I'd be sitting there talking to him, and he'd be fucking nodding out in the chair in the garage. I gotta make a cup of coffee real quick.
Hey, not always for, but then I learned.
Yeah, hey, listen.
But
that's
the thing,
what it's
here's the
about.
best part. Here's the best part. No matter what, I was waking up.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I was waking
There
up
wasn't
at
that
the end
worry.
of the day, right?
There wasn't that worry. And
That's the greatest
the
part
great
about
thing
this
about it.
plant.
That's the
Is that
great
you
thing about
can't, it's never killed anybody. It can't kill you. Your endocannabinoid system is built in. It's your friggin' food processor for this plant. Get educated, get medicated.
That's it. Yeah, I'm glad to see you still smoking a lot of pot, man. That's great. And now you got a label on your jar and shit. You're moving up in the fucking world over here.
Hey, Perry,
Might not be accurate, but there's a label.
I mean,
it doesn't matter.
Hey, that's more than he had with. I mean, seriously, he used to take it all. Didn't matter what it was. He still does that. He throws all that shit in one, and then you ask him what it is. The funny thing is, he can go through that jar, pull out every bud, tell you what it is, though.
Yeah, he did. He kind of ran it all down.
I mean, speaking of which,
Well, this
what he
is,
got in there? All this weed talk.
Did you ever, you talked about your 1,000 milligram experience. Have you ever seen, I on Joey Diaz's show, the
Yeah.
comedian
Oh,
Joey.
he's my guy.
Did you ever
Uncle
see-
Joey.
Yeah, Uncle Joey. Did you ever see when like he has some guests on and
Yes.
give him the Death Star?
I'd love to go on his show one of these days, bro.
Well,
How do we get on
maybe
there?
you will. then.
I would love to. Listen, he's the. Have you ever watched him, Mac?
No, what is it?
Listen, Uncle Joey, man.
Yeah.
Joey Coco Diaz. He's the funniest mother. He's a stand-up comedian. You know?
Okay, and he smokes Death Star?
He smokes weed and takes
Well,
edibles and
he's,
shit.
He's
dude.
the edible king.
He
This
stayed
guy-
away from him lately, though. He's been
Oh,
saying.
has he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he does the
Well,
morning joint.
California lowered their edible.
They did.
maximum.
Michigan's gonna do that too.
Yeah, that sucks. But anyway,
know?
Joey Diaz, he gets these Death Stars, and it's probably the Death Star strain, right?
Yes.
Okay, so it's a indica dominant edible, and it's these big dark purple edibles, dude, and they're
Eats the whole
stars.
fucking bag, this guy.
And they just look evil. Like you just look at them, you go, no, like you shouldn't eat that. Like everything about it says, don't eat this fucking thing. The color, the size, everything says, don't eat it. And this guy pops them like you would eat a gummy bear. Joey Diaz pops these 1,000 milligram, 500 milligram. Well, people go on his show. And just like Dee's
Yeah.
talking about, oh, I heard all that shit, you know.
And he
I
gets
can-
him fucked up.
He's
Hooked up with all the UFC fighters. Kobe Goldbrand.
he's,
Oh, right.
he's a buddy
Oh.
of, he's Rogan's buddy.
He's
on
Rogan's buddy,
all the
yeah.
time. So, but other comedians come on the show, other guests, other celebrities, and they just get in that environment.
He gets you
something
fucked
about
up.
Joey, like Uncle Joey. He's Uncle Joey, and you feel safe.
Uncle Joey,
Like-
me and your little cousin Damien, we're in, bro. I'll eat the edibles. He won't eat them. I'll eat them. I'll let you
Shit,
give
I'll
me all
smoke with
edibles.
you. I'll
up.
bring some weed. Listen, if you got it tonight when you go home.
I will.
You got to look him up. He does the morning joint with Uncle Joey, and it's fucking hilarious, man. This guy, he's a typical. He's got all that gangster talk, man. You know that the
Yeah, like
Italian
like
gangster
Sal.
shit.
Right now, is he like? It reminds me
He's like
of
an old mobster, man.
right. What am I thinking? Sopranos.
Love that guy.
Yeah, so
he looks like fucking. What was his name on the Sopranos?
Pussy?
Pussy. He looks just like.
Yeah,
him, bro.
that's who I see anyway. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, there's Joey Diaz. So this is Joe, and this is
Oh yeah, I seen this.
This is a compilation of him with a guest taking the Death Star. So you can YouTube it, Joey Diaz Stars of Death compilation. And I mean, he's had comedians come on here, and they've had to leave. Like they have to step outside
Yeah,
the
they've had to
studio.
go, and he's had to like.
Yeah.
Not stop the show because the show never stops with him. He keeps
No,
fucking
he just
going.
keeps vamping, man. He just keeps vamping, and like this one comedian chick, I forget her name. I'm sure she's on this reel somewhere, but she had to leave, man. And this is the guy that makes the Death Stars.
Yeah. Yeah. He's fucking nuts.
Yeah, he's the king. Look at it. Here's him.
Oh, there you go.
Look at
I know that feeling.
look at that.
Pass the fuck out.
That's in the middle of a show.
Anyway.
Look at all those waters he's got in
Going to
front of him.
Milwaukee.
And like his producers, like the producer and the guest are like looking at each other, and they're like, "Should we wrap this up, or should like?" And they're like, "No, just keep going."
Look at fucking. They're all blown out.
Dude, I'm telling you, Perry, if you saw one of these Stars of Death edibles, there's no way you'd eat it. Like everything about it says stay away. It's like,
yeah, it doesn't look too appealing.
yeah.
Oh really?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna send you a couple clips later that I have of him or whatever. He's one of my favorite comedians. I like him. Vic DiBitetto's another one. You ever see him? He's another one.
No, I haven't seen that. Yeah,
good.
Joey Diaz is just like you said. You talk about good people being involved in the cannabis industry and stuff. And Joey Diaz is a perfect example. Of that,
Absolutely.
man. Just a great guy. you know?
Absolutely.
And that's the whole thing too, is just to be able to, like what I always tell you, D. If you haven't met them, they just haven't met you yet.
That's it.
They just don't know that they need to know you yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I listen.
I could see you on Joey Diaz's show. We got to work on that. man.
I would so love. Listen, I'm gonna say it right on this air right now.
Yeah.
That's my goal for 2019 is to be on the Joey Diaz.
All right,
show.
we'll see what we can
If
do.
I
to
can
help.
get on that fucking show, man, listen. He needs another Italian over there with him for a night. All right,
Yeah.
me and him around each other.
I wonder if
Look
he's
at this
ever.
guy. Look at this guy, Mac.
Hey, I wonder if he's ever fucking like. Has there been any hockey retired 4-time Stanley Cup champions that
No,
he tried to edible out? And I
No.
mean, maybe he's in. Maybe he wants to try that.
he might.
He's based out of Cali, I believe. if I'm not
Okay,
mistaken.
well,
they're
I
in
mean, hey,
California.
there's
Yeah.
planes.
Look at him. That's in the middle of a podcast, man. He's out.
I love it.
Oh yeah.
I love it. That's what it's all about. But and bringing it back around because it's just the communities. It's just like bringing. That's what taking it back to what the Hash Bash is all about this weekend. It'll be very exciting for anybody who's been there for the past. And the best part about the Hash Bash, do you know that it was this, right? Not only my birthday, April 1st, being April Fool's, but April 1st, 72 is the first Hash Bash.
Was it?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
The day I was born.
The day you were born. The year I was born.
Yeah.
Wow.
No, but
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I know it was years. I
no,
know they had
but
it
that
around for
was
years.
it. So
When I first moved to Michigan and I went to my first Hash Bash, okay?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could get booths there. I didn't know. Nobody told me.
Okay.
You know, I didn't know you could be.
You didn't know
I
that.
didn't know you had the option to be a fucking vendor there. So,
Yeah.
listen, I've been the king of selling shit out backpacks for a long time when I first moved to Michigan.
Yeah.
Those shirts we did.
Yeah.
The one that looked like the wings. So I got banned from the Joe Louis a long time ago. Okay, we're gonna start with that.
Okay.
That's what's so crazy that I'm sitting with him. They banned me from the parking structure. Okay.
Jesus.
sell them
I
out
was
of the back
selling
of his
these
truck.
fucking shirts, okay? I'd get there 2 hours ahead of time. I park in the parking garage. Floor 2, okay? Because everybody's got to go by you. Because floor 1 fills up fast as shit. Right?
Okay.
So I'd stand there and I'd drape them over the tailgate. And some people loved it and they bought it. I made a lot of money down there. And then some people would hate on it because it was sports with weed and they fucking didn't like that shit. You know? The lovely thing about that is there's no time to argue because they're in line and they got to keep going up the thing. So as soon as they get pissed, they're pissed for 30 seconds and then they're on to the next car, right?
Yep.
So
Kids got all the angles. Kids got all the angles.
so
always.
they were security ran. Now this is a true story, okay? So the security kept running up on me every week, and they'd say, "You're not allowed to do that up here. You don't have a vending permit." So then they start telling the cops that I was up there doing it. So the Detroit City Police would come up there, and they'd write me a ticket, $40 vending without a license. I looked at it like, "Fuck it, that's booth fee."
Right.
$40
Cost of
I'm
doing
getting off
business.
easy, right? Well, then I start thinking about this on my way up the road. I'm like, there's 1,900 unsolved murders in the city of Detroit. They ain't worried about me paying this $40 fine. That's some bullshit. And I throw the ticket out the window. Well, this went on 2 or 3 times. I got tickets from the cops. Finally, they said, if we see you here again, we're going to take you to jail. Well, they didn't say if they saw my brother there again, they take him to jail. So now I had to send my brother out there. Okay, well, I get this letter in the mail from these unpaid. Now it's up to about $160. I didn't pay the tickets, right? Fuck it, I ain't paying it. So they send me this. So I was so pissed at it. I took the money out, laid it all out on one sheet of paper, and photocopied it, and sent it back in with a letter to the police department saying this is bullshit. You know, the detective went ahead and sent me a pair of handcuffs printed back on a piece of paper. True story. Needless to say, I paid the tickets the next day. Yeah, that's a true fucking
man.
story.
See, wait. But here's the best part is that you take the hint, right?
True story.
D's not stupid. Take the hint.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, you got to do what you got to do out here. You know, that's part of
Dude,
it.
that's score 1 for that cop, man.
Oh man,
That's
listen,
pretty good.
he and I framed it. I still have it, right? But I immediately, I just would love to see the look on their face when they got the thing for the money.
Well, he must have had a great sense of humor because he's
He
like,
did, 'cause-
okay, you little prick.
Yeah.
He volleyed right
And
back.
he said it right back to me, and he said his business card in there, and I said, I'm not even going to call this fucking guy. I'm just going to go down to court and pay this shit. So
That's awesome.
then they sent me, right after that, I get a letter that tells me that I'm not allowed in the parking structure or anywhere out to Joe Louis because, you know, it was their thing, you know, you got to go. But they didn't say I couldn't go on the other side of the street. So that's where we started going on the other side. There's a will, there's a way.
All right,
Man,
especially
oh,
with you,
You
bro.
know, there's T-shirts, man. You know, we weren't out there hurting anybody, you know, so.
Right.
It was good times, man. I mean, that's how the whole clothing company really got started, was that particular design. That's what really made the company, you know. It was everybody in Detroit was like, I've seen that, and just to some of the people that I saw wearing it that I'd never in a million years expect to wear that.
Yeah, you
because
took
it had a
you
weed
took
leaf
the
on it.
Red Wings logo and you took the moon. The
Well,
crescent
we
moon.
changed the logo. It's more like tell them the story about the Homeland Security. At the beginning because they thought it was.
They came into my office and
so here's
asking
this
me
one out.
questions about.
But this is so
I
you
hope-
gotta preface this when you started with the logo.
It's a moon and it has a weed leaf in it, but it kind of It
Looks
doesn't
like
kind
Islam,
of.
yeah.
That's what you would think, right?
Right.
And they literally sent the Homeland Security
They
Department
thought it
to
was
my
like
office.
to see if it was like
cell,
some
like a
sort of
cell.
cell
Oh,
terrorist.
listen, and they asked me and I'm sitting there talking to this guy, and he doesn't tell me he's from Homeland Security. He just starts asking all these fucking questions. So I said, hey, man, so what police force you work for?
Yeah.
Because I know you ain't here to talk to me about this fucking logo.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
what's up, man? And he said, well, I work for Homeland Security, and we're just trying to make sure that, you're not, are you involved with any type of people that have a plan against the government? And I'm looking at this fucking guy from across my desk like, are you shitting me right now, man? We're in the weed business, bro. We don't give a fuck about none of that.
Yeah.
And he was serious. He came back 2 or 3 times just to make sure.
make sure.
And I finally told him, like, listen, I don't know what you think it is I'm involved in over here, because we're not involved in any of that. We sell T-shirts.
Yeah.
And that was the end of that. But I just thought that was funny that little old me selling T-shirts, I ended up with Homeland Security at my office for something that I never in a million years would have thought would have been relevant.
Yeah.
to what we were
how
doing.
did you come up with the crescent moon? I mean, obviously.
Oh man, I was high one day. Actually, I did tell you earlier in the show I signed my divorce papers today, right? So I will give my ex-wife now some credit. Okay. Here we go. She is a diehard Wings fan. I mean, her favorite player. No offense, Mac. It was Maltby for years.
course.
That was her favorite guy.
No wonder you're divorced.
Yeah, and we'd go to the games, and I had never been to a hockey game ever. So once I got there and realized, like, damn, you could beat people up in this game. I really like this game, And we'd always had good seats, and thanks to Perry at Greektown Casino for hooking me up with those good seats, by the way. And we'd always go, and then she just said to me one day, she said, man, I'm so high, I feel like I'm over the moon.
Oh, okay.
And that was how we went with it. Well, I was sitting back as I started to learn about hockey. She's from the UP, so hockey's was on in my house all the time.
Yeah.
And
God bless her.
we were sitting there, and I go, how can I put my design into something hockey? This is Hockey Town.
Right.
I got to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I just drew it on paper and sat back and looked at it, and I said, holy shit, we got something here. And I printed 12 off just to make sure people were going to dig them and I wasn't going to get stuck with a large amount of T-shirts. I sold 12 in 1 hour. Wow. And 100,000 shirts later, I finally ended up getting a cease and desist from a company for it finally. And believe it or not, it wasn't the Wings. Out of everybody I thought would have, that was the one company I thought would have gave me the cease and desist for that, and they didn't. It was a separate company that does sporting stuff. So, but yeah, I missed that one. That was a good one.
Hey, Mac, Jason Gomez from the Michigan Warriors.
Yeah.
He posted on there, he goes, if Miss Mason only knew how awesome her jars would be used one day, she'd be proud.
Hell yeah.
That's awesome.
I like. Hey, speaking of that, did you hear the response from Josh or the Gnomes?
That's what I've been doing.
Hey,
between
did you
Jason
not
and
get
everybody.
that Perry's wearing the? Did you not see that, Tim?
What's that?
The picture of Perry wearing his "Everybody Needs a Garden Gnome" shirt from Josh and the Warrior guys, and then we went down and they were giving away garden gnomes at the game.
Were they really?
Dude, didn't you see the picture in the grind?
Yeah, but I didn't know they were giving them out.
So
that's what the
we
picture's
went down. We
for.
went down last Friday, and
shit.
people had the boxes, and I go, who's the bobblehead?
Pull up grind time.
I go, who's the bobblehead? And they go,
The locker room
They go,
and
oh
that
no,
picture.
it's a gnome. We're like, what? We open it up, and sure enough, I'm wearing that T-shirt that day.
Wow.
And it was just like, talk about coincidence. Everything just.
That's crazy. And they were giving out gnomes?
Yeah, they were giving out.
I'll pull it up here.
Yeah, little red wing garter gnomes. And
awesome.
So I've been trying to find out how the boys did, and that's what I've been sitting here trying to get hold of Josh, Jason. Nobody knows. Nobody. They should be back. I saw they won the first 2 games over the weekend, but I haven't heard or seen anything how the Michigan
Well, they ain't
Warriors, they're
bragging, so
they're
they're
down in the
probably
Nationals,
coming home with their
Florida.
tail between their legs.
This is a great group of guys, the Michigan Michigan Warriors.
Yeah, these are the guys that we've had on and come back, and I'm just giving them crap. But they were going down playing in the Nationals, and these are our veterans that were helping out with some equipment. Some listeners have helped out. Did you find the picture? Or no?
I did. I found the picture of Perry.
With the note. Did you see it? Yeah. Like this is check it out. See, everybody needs a garden gnome, and I said that's freaking for Josh. I mean, there it is.
Yeah, so that's a Michigan Warriors shirt that Perry had on, and they just happened to be doing garden gnomes.
That was the giveaway that
That's
night.
crazy.
I'm
That's
thinking,
crazy.
what's a bobblehead? No, it's a freaking gnome.
Yeah,
That
and
is
it's
funny,
because
isn't
Josh, that's his nickname in the Michigan Warriors hockey team. He's the gnome, the guard gnome, because he's the short guy.
Okay, yeah.
it? Yeah, you might be taller than he is, D.
Hey. That's pretty cool, man. I don't have to very often.
What else you got, Perry?
Andrew Leslie Lay saw you down in Monroe for the you were doing the talk for the Russian 5 movie at the Monroe Mall, and they just wanted to thank you for coming down and being very personable and talking and meeting and taking pictures, and they were very thankful for that.
That's cool. It's great being able to do that. Thank you. Obviously, check out my new Shinola from the Russian 5 from Jenny.
Beautiful watch, man.
Jenny and
Josh
Josh were saying they were telling me all day Saturday, just because you were also in Livonia that morning at Laurel Park doing the same thing for the Phoenix Theaters and the movie, and they were telling me how appreciative you are.
I mean, that's
you know
goes without saying. If you haven't seen the Russian 5 movie yet, I implore you to see it, especially even if you weren't a hockey fan.
Yeah, see it in theaters if you
you
can.
know,
man.
and Tim, and the reason Jen and Josh, actually Josh was having a watch party of the show tonight.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but when Darren was, I was standing there when Darren was telling Igor about the movie, and you can just see Darren, just pure, just his true thoughts and feelings, and literally Igor, you could see
Perking up like.
Oh,
he was,
yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Yeah.
and because we told it, but it's different when you have a relationship and when he knows that where it comes, and that the fact that I told him about Vladdy and it meant that much is because when you share something, I guess I mean I don't know how to explain it other than we have not only through the cups and the relationships and the ups and downs and the life and the life, not the death, but there's a lot of things when you can look into somebody's eyes, and especially that you've been for 20 some years, the good, the bad, and has seen you, and when you have that, it's out of pure as, and to have him look at me and just to know that that's my truth, and and whether that helps or it doesn't, but to see that I could tell that it is one of those things that it passes through, the guard, I guess. So I'd love for all of them to see it, but that's, like I said, that's funny because Jenny says, well, they're going to see it with the crowd. Well, baby steps, all right? You know what I mean? It doesn't work. And she knows exactly what I'm saying, but they got to all take in their own time.
Dude,
so.
I would go so far as to say, and you know better than anybody, Mac, if this is even close to the truth, but if they could just see it, if one of them could see it, obviously Vladdy's seen it a couple times, God bless him, we've been able to watch it with him. If like Igor could see it, if Sergey could see it, if one of the others could see it, it might be their first real 360-degree understanding of how it felt for us.
Yeah.
It
will, but
that
movie,
and
then here's the
they
thing.
might not even know what it meant to us. You know what I mean? Until they see this.
Right, and here's the thing too, Tim, is that what have we learned, and what have that in it'll happen when it's supposed to happen, then no, but here's the difference, right? And you tell me, because we come from the same spot, is before I'd be like trying to make it happen, you got to see this, you got to see it. No, right? You know what I'm saying?
No, you're
and instead of now, it's like I want him to see it so bad, but
I know
it's got to be
totally
right
dude.
because and so I'm gonna lead that in.
You're totally right.
That lead into my feelings on the Red Wings, okay? Because everybody probably wants to know with the way that they won 8 out of 9.
Re-signing
I hear. Hey, I'll tell you this.
Blashill.
They re-signed Blashill for 2 years.
Come on, man. Tell us, Mac. Tell us.
No, but here's the thing, and a lot of people and media, fans, whatever, have their own opinion, and that's awesome. But for me, is that the bottom line is that I don't care, and it's along to the lines that accepting the way that things will happen. Mm-hmm. But I'd rather see this because I've seen more that's going to benefit these guys in the future. Because why? Because it's the youth that has taken over. So you got the Larkins, the Manthas, the Anthonisius, the Bertuzzis as the core ish. moving forward? Well, you know what they're going to do? They're going to be coming off the end of this season feeling good about themselves. A couple of them hit 30, one hit 20, but the fact that they're going in the right direction, and they're going to spend all summer, whether it's together or not, but building this, right? Because that's the difference between being younger and being older. Well, they haven't had all the kids yet. They haven't got anything. So they're going to build this and get this foundation, and obviously it's taken time, and I think that obviously Jeff Blashill and what he's done in the direction that the Wings have gone in, it might not be the direction that everybody wants, but I see that it's a direction that they're saying, we're going this way. And whether that, I don't know what that has to do front office-wise, but you know where your coach is going to be. You know where you're building around. And pretty much it's that 4 guys. And now you're seeing, right, you're winning 8 out of 9 games. And sure, you're playing some teams fighting for the playoffs, some not. You're doing it with 9 regulars out of the lineup. You've brought up Chelios, McElrath, Bowie,
Hiroshi, sign him, and
right? No, like Hiroshi. Like you're getting a great time of year to see what you have moving forward, so you don't have to use next season exhibition, whatever. You know where, and plus in that, because the Wings are out of the playoffs, so some of the guys will go back down to GR and season up and play in the playoffs down there and make it better. And I'm really excited because for the first time, it's in a different direction. Now, it's not the direction I think that 90% of the people think that it should go in, which is Steve, you come back, and then let's get Joel Quenneville, and let's recycle. Let's not recycle. Let's keep somebody that's been building this and blast or whatever you believe, because this is at the end of the day, I think it's like 92, 93. They have to build, and where they're starting, we'll see what happens in the draft. We'll see where the bingo balls go. The best case scenario is maybe they fall back to 6th and they still get a top pick. If not, they have plans, and I see that, and that's what I believe, and I just love the fact that they play for each other, and they know where they are going, and they're fun to watch.
Well, that's, everybody's been talking, we should be tanking. We should be getting Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes is going to be, we got to get the #1 pick.
Wait, there's no guarantee, and here's the thing. There's no guarantee to anything in a lottery that you're going to get a thing. But my point is, if it was last year and it was Dahlin, and if it was a defenseman, we're in more dire need than that. Now, I'm not saying Jack Hughes ain't a great player, but there's also a phenomenal player in Edmonton that's arguably one of the best players in the league that hasn't ever made the playoffs, 100 points this year, Connor McDavid. So that doesn't mean anything. What means is in this league you got to win, and it's team, and it's learning to play together. And that you look at their maturation and moving forward, I'm excited. I'm excited in what they're doing. I'm happy Blashill's back, and it'll be interesting moving forward, but the end of the season has given me a lot of hope.
No, that's good, because I agree with you. To me, I'm more pumped up watching the way they're playing, how they're bonding. Like you said, you've noticed that in the locker room, that you see a difference that you didn't see last year, maybe.
Yeah, no, I just think of the confidence in each other and that it's their team. And you watch, it goes how Larkin does. I mean, and he realizes that. See, he's going to be his own worst critic because of the pressure, but now you see that he's learning how to, I'm flying, I'm here, and it's not pressure anymore. He's accepting that that's his role, and he's into, he's sort of at a young age becoming this man, this leader, but you have this confidence, this air, and it's not a cockiness, it's a confidence. And because you notice it, leaders of men, and Stevie had this, is that they have this where it's let's go, and it's like you follow. And then everybody else comes too, and you buy in.
And do you think Dylan has, with him being from here and being a local boy, he knows the history of the Red Wings?
Well, that's the greatest part.
Just like you did, growing up across the river right here, being a Wings fan, you knew the history. And I think Dylan's watching, he's heard the stories of Stevie. He had Henrik showing some leadership and the value of what it is to wear the Wing emblem. And that's got to have quite a bit of value to take over the leadership role.
Well, no, I mean, the best part I always say about Dylan Larkin is when you first met him is that his knowledge of the history of what it means to be Detroit Red Wing. This kid lives and breathes it. And if you want to talk about, I mean, this is, to me, that's King Arthur pulling the Excalibur out of the rock because he's from Waterford. He grew up here. He believed this is what he's been meant. I said, you're coming into what you're meant to do. It's like, for people that are meant to be kings in the medieval times, is that this is yours, and it's something that he doesn't fear. He's embracing and learning how to embrace it and make it his own. And and because it's what you see, it's not about him, it's about them, and he exudes it the most out of anybody.
Yeah,
and that's when you know you're in the right, and that's what it means to be a Red Wing.
You know what I've been enjoying, Mac, is listening to you talk to different people. And you were on ESPN Toledo tonight with Mike Miller earlier talking about the Red Wings and that. And it's just, I'm seeing in you the excitement.
Yeah.
And talking about the team and the young core and where they're going and the direction they're going and how they're building.
Yeah.
And so I'm thinking if we're listening to it.
I'm right with you.
If we're listening to it from a guy that's been there,
right, if he's
done that.
Yeah.
And you know what? And like Rob Thomas, he saw you Saturday at DC Sports, and that's what he said. He goes,
God, I love Matchbox 20.
That's the first thing I saw. But like he said, he goes, this is what he digs is listening to Mac
talk
insight
about
and talk about the Wings and his knowledge.
Well, yeah, because everybody's just looking for crumbs.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna air
insight. They just want something,
And here's the thing, guys. So. And we're going to do that, Rob, just for you. It's a great way for me to tie up to
Rob.
Off the post.
Rob
Off
for
the
you.
post.
That's it. Yeah. Great way to tie this up because next Tuesday, Tim, I would like to do a NHL playoff preview. I have a couple of very special guests that I'm trying to line up where I'm going to do a total hockey show on the NHL playoffs. We'll talk some Wings. We'll do
Go
some
around
stuff.
the whole league and
We're gonna do our picks for the playoffs. The pool. We're gonna try to get some listeners involved in making some picks, and I'm gonna try to make that. So that'll be a Grind Time exclusive event next Tuesday night.
Cool.
Next Wednesday, Kevin Zioli, Justin Sullivan, and a few comics are gonna join us for a comedian roundtable, and they can tell you what it's like to be a comic. I'll tell you what it's like to be an entertainer.
I'd like to be here for that one. Is there any way I can? I need a good laugh, man.
All right. But
tomorrow, opening day.
Tomorrow is opening day. We haven't touched on the Tigers, even though they won again today. They're 3-3 coming to the homestand. I hope it's not cold. We'll get into Tiger talk as the weather gets more warmer.
If it's cold, I may be out there with a hoodie to sell.
These guys. Look for D tomorrow.
I will be downtown, okay?
Over the moon. You'll have some hoodies. Well, thanks for being here, D. Thank you for everything you've done for me, homie, and continued success. And the one thing that you should most be proud about is what you've done with your son there. You've done a hell of a job stepping away, and it's tough being a single dad, but you've done a great job, and I know it's not easy, but best of luck in that because it's not easy, but just be out there selling shirts and promoting the weed and giving the knowledge, bro. So
I appreciate your time.
Moonrags, MOONRAGZ.com for all your over-the-moon clothing needs, hats, sweatshirts, T-shirts, whatever you need.
Whatever you need.
Hash Bass this weekend. You'll be out on Monroe Street Saturday. You'll be at the Wyndham
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So if you're out there, check it out. Saturday I'll be in Ohio, but I'll try to come back for that. What else do we got going on?
I'm going to be watching the Michigan State.
Yeah. So everybody, your homework is to go to a matinee of the Russian 5 on Saturday and then go home and cheer the Sparties on. Perfect. So hopefully we're here, and I will touch on the Spartans if they win the national championship on Monday. We will talk about it on Tuesday. But Timmy, what do you got planned for the weekend? Anything special?
Just real estate, man. Real estate.
How is real? I seen you out there in the rain and the snow, and they still sell houses in the bad weather?
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely, especially there at
I like this guy. He likes
Franklin
Selkie.
Addison, man. Franklin Addison. Go see Tim Krakowski because he will get it done, rain or shine.
Rain or shine.
All right. Well, for Damien DiStefano and Perry Vellucci, Tim Krakowski, I am 4-time Stanley Cup champion Darren McCarty. And remember, no matter how many times you fall down, get your ass back up. Grind time. Out.